You know, it takes a big man to attack a little woman. Wait a minute. No, it doesn't. It takes a real tough guy to attack a mom, a mother, a wife, somebody who's out there fighting for freedom and justice in the American way. What's up? This is Mark K. Saves the Republic. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader. And I don't say minority. Some people say, you know, always call Hakeem Jeffries a minority. No, he's a minority leader. I mean, he's both, but he's the minority leader because thank God the Democrats are in the minority. Thank God the Democrats are in the minority. Thank God that they are not in control of anything important. But at the same time, because they're not in control of anything important, they do a lot of really unimportant, dumb things like attack Republican. I'll be honest with you. Donald Trump has done some really incredible stuff. First of all, he's made Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats realize that there's a political violence problem in this country. What they haven't yet realized is that the political violence is mostly coming from their side of the aisle. We'll get to all that here in just a minute. Also, John Bolton was indicted yesterday on 18 counts. And the interesting thing about John Bolton being indicted is that this one is a lot different in the media. The media is, they're not my words, the media is treating this a lot differently than they are the indictments of Letitia James, who they're trying to turn Letitia James into some kind of martyr for democracy or some kind of glorious, crusader for good over evil. And then James Comey, of course, who, look, the Democrats know James Comey's a horrible person, but he's one of them now. So they used to hate James Comey, but now that he's been indicted by Donald Trump's DOJ, now they're all yay Comey. But this Bolton thing is totally different, and we'll get to all that here in just a minute. Plus, the No Kings rally is set for tomorrow, and man, I'm trying to figure out what kind of headgear to wear. Should I wear one of my Mark K for Congress hats, or should I wear the sombrero? This is going to be the big question of the day. What do I wear, or do I wear a crown? I think I have a crown somewhere. Maybe I'll wear the sombrero. That might be the way to go. I'm not sure what. I haven't been to a No Kings rally, well, ever. But I'm thinking maybe either I wear the, I don't know what to do. Let me know your thoughts on any opinions. Should I wear my Mark K for Congress hat, the red one or the blue one or the white one or any of them? Or should I wear the sombrero, which I think would also I think that would send a good message. Or should I wear a crown? It's going to be interesting. There's no King's Day rallies. They're scheduled everywhere. They're all over the place. We have a bunch here. Surprisingly, because, a lot of people are like, Mark K, you live in Florida. Florida is one of the free state of Florida. Man, it must be great. There's no Democrats down there. Au contraire, mon ami. There are lots more Democrats than we want. I mean, one Democrat is more than we want, but there's a lot of them. Our mayor is a Democrat. I know. Our mayor is a Democrat. Our county is still majority Democratic. We have more Republicans in the state of Florida than we do Democrats by a mile, by like 1 million voters. But the Duval County where I live, where Mar-a-Lago is located, which people, they don't believe it. They go, Mar-a-Lago is in a blue county, and unfortunately, it's true. Mar-a-Lago, KHQ is in a blue. We're going to work to change that, by the way. That's part of the mission of Mark K for Congress. As Mark K for Congress continues, what we're able to do is there's a couple things we're going to do. Number one, we're going to win our seat in Congress. We're going to primary John Rutherford, who's basically, a lovely man, I'm sure, but he's a pointless representative. And then the third thing we're going to do is we're going to boost voter registration across the board so that we will have more and more Republicans, because we have to get Duval into the red. This cannot be a blue county anymore. For my own personal, I don't want to live in a blue county, and I do. And it's baffling. I'm one of the few people in Florida. There's only a handful of blue counties left in Florida. I happen to live in one of them. Of all the places, could I move to a red county? I could, but I got a lot invested. I'm close to all of my favorite restaurants, the dry cleaner. I just now got the pool kind of to the temperature that I want it to. So I don't want to have to move, but down the road, you never know. You just never know. Either we're going to turn Duval blue Right now it's blue vol, but we got to fix it. We got to get it back to red, or we're going to do something else. Anyway, here's the dealio. Here's what's happening. We have a lot going on today, but it is, of course, Friday. And here on Mark K Saves the Republic, every Friday we like to celebrate with something we call Cha-Ching Chat Friday. And here's how Cha-Ching Chat Friday works. If you're one of those people who's been dying to support the show, and we appreciate that because without your support, there is no show. But if you're one of those people who's like, man, I love this show so much. If you're one of those people that comments throughout the show and thinks to yourself, what would I do without this show? If you're one of those people that has made friendships and become part of the Catriot community, if you look forward to this every single day, whether you're watching us live, we will then set off the Cha-Chinger. That happens on Friday only. The Cha-Chinger goes off, and what happens is if it's a $5 Cha-Ching Chat or higher, doesn't have to be, the people are like, oh, $5? Okay, great. It could be 20, it could be 50, it could be 1,000, whatever it is. Just send that Cha-Ching Chat in. It'll kick off the Cha-Chinger. And then the other thing that's going to happen is, and this is the best part, is I'll read your Cha-Ching Chat on the program. So if you have, so for example, a lot of people, what they do is they just go, Mark K, you're great. Great. Well, I'll probably read that even without the money, I'll be honest with you. Or they say, they'll say, hey, I want to wish my Uncle Joey a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Uncle Joey. Don't get too drunk. That's fine. We'll do that. Whatever you write there. Some people are like, hey, visit my food truck. I'll be parked at the corner of Main and 3rd from noon to whatever. If you want to use it as an advertisement, I'm totally fine with that. But you have to get on the YouTube or the Rumble and fill out just do your little cha-ching. You know the drill now. You got the Rumble rants and the YouTube super chats, and that's how we get cha-chings. That's how we get the cha-chinger going. And we really I feel like we should make this one of the best Cha-Ching Chat Fridays we've ever had because the fight is real, folks. The fight is real. The Democrats, they just keep getting, you would think eventually when you lose as much as the Democrat Party does, when they lose in the election for president, when they lose in the election for House of Representatives, when they lose in the election for the Senate, when they don't control anything, when they see their hopes and dreams just decimated, when all their voters are being deported back to the countries of their origin, you would think that they go, well, you know what? We're just a bunch of losers. We should change something. They don't do that. They just double down on stupidity. And Hakeem Jeffries is... I guess he's just had enough. Maybe the memes pushed him over the edge. Maybe the sombrero memes pushed him over the edge. Maybe the disrespect that he's been getting from everybody, and not just the White House. Literally nobody respects Hakeem Jeffries. I'd be shocked if find me one person that respects Hakeem Jeffries. I don't think you'll be able to do it. But he's now lashing out at Republicans, lying about Republicans, and he's pinpointing a woman. He's literally bashing a woman on live TV. Here's what he said about the ironic statements that Hakeem Jeffries made the other day. Here he is. I think this was this morning or yesterday.
It's a matter of deep concern. We've already seen a rise in political violence and hatred in America. And then you've got swastikas apparently appearing in the offices of Republican members of Congress. You've got young Republicans engaging in the most anti-Semitic and racist speech possible. This is apparently who many of these people are. They are ripping the sheets off in plain view of the American people. Their words, their actions, revealing themselves in so many different ways. And then you got Caroline Leavitt, who's sick. She's out of control. And I'm not sure whether she's just demented, ignorant, a stone cold liar, or all of the above. But the notion that an official White House spokesperson would say that the Democratic Party consists of terrorists, violent criminals, and undocumented immigrants, this makes no sense. That this is what the American people are getting from the Trump administration in the middle of a shutdown. So their actions continue to speak for themselves, which is why they're on the wrong side of public sentiment.
Question on a second.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah.
So he's going after Caroline Leavitt specifically. He's going after all Republicans, but basically Caroline Leavitt. And he's saying Caroline Leavitt is calling the Democrat Party. What was it he said about her? Hang on.
And then you got Caroline Leavitt, who's sick. She's out of control.
Out of control.
And I'm not sure whether she's just demented, ignorant, stone cold liar, or all of the above. But the notion that an official White House spokesperson would say that the Democratic Party consists of terrorists, violent criminals, and undocumented immigrants, this makes no sense.
Now, this is weird that he would think that. Maybe he doesn't follow the news, because the murderer of Charlie Kirk, the shooter who shot bullets into an ICE van in Dallas, Texas, the murderer who took out 2 kids at a Catholic school in Minneapolis, the guy who just got sentenced for trying to assassinate President Donald Trump, and the kid who tried again and was killed by the Secret Service in Butler, Pennsylvania. All of them are Democrats. They're all Democrats. They're all terrorizing Republicans. And I don't know why he wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, terrorist is probably too calm a term. I mean, I don't know if there's anything more you could call them other than terrorists. As far as her saying there's Democrat elected officials who are illegal immigrants, we know that's true, because there was that guy who was a school board superintendent, an elected official who was an illegal immigrant. They're infiltrating every aspect of American livelihood. And let's be honest, it's not just the elected officials. It's not just the would-be assassins. It's also the media. Don Lemon, I don't know, a lot of people don't follow Don Lemon, but he pops up on my feed and it makes me laugh. Don Lemon posted this, I think, yesterday, where he called for illegal aliens to go buy guns so that they can shoot ICE agents. I'm not making it up. That's not hyperbole. Listen to Don Lemon. Here he is on, I guess it's a show we're calling it.
Black people, brown people of all stripes, whether you're an Indian American or a Mexican American or whoever you are, go out in your place where you live and get a gun legally, get a license to carry legally. Because when you have people knocking on your door and taking you away without due process as a citizen, isn't that what the Second Amendment was written for? Go back and read what the Second Amendment says. And perhaps it will knock some sense in the heads of these people who are saying, well, it's all great. I don't believe they're doing it without due process. They're asking people for papers. They're not really beating people up. These people are doing things that are illegal. Nobody is illegal. It is a misdemeanor to cross the border. Now,
a misdemeanor, by the way, is a law. If you commit a felony, you're breaking the law. If it's a misdemeanor, it's a law. He doesn't understand that common concept, but he's saying all brown people, whether you're Indian American, if you're brown, Indian of all stripes, he said. I don't even know what that means. But he goes, go out and buy a gun, because when they come and drag you out of your house and try to take you away, you can shoot them, I guess, is his insinuation. He's saying that's what the Second Amendment was for, which was weird, because I have this, as you know, I always keep the Constitution nearby. And the Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I mean, let me read it again just to make sure. No, it doesn't say anything about brown people or being hauled away for breaking the law. Doesn't say anything all about that. It says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. But listen to what he's saying. He's saying if you're an illegal immigrant and you're worried about ICE coming to your home and deporting you, go out and buy a gun. That's literally what he's saying.
Black people, brown people of all stripes, whether you're an Indian American or a Mexican American or whoever you are, go out in your place where you live and get a gun legally.
Fun fact, by the way, this is somebody who, you can't get a gun legally if you're illegal. That's another thing. If you're an illegal immigrant, if you're an illegal alien, you can't get a gun permit. You can't buy a firearm. You're not going to go, if you go down to like the Department of Agriculture, the first thing they're going to do is ask you for a birth certificate. They don't just give out permits to anybody. It's not like that, actually.
License to carry legally.
Yeah, you can't get a license to carry legally if you're illegal. And I guess Don Lemon doesn't know that.
You have people knocking on your door and taking you away without due process as a citizen. Isn't that what the Second Amendment was written for?
Okay, so here's my question. Now he's confused. Now he's confusing the issue. Now he's talking about citizens. If you're a citizen, okay, you're not going to be hauled away by ICE. ICE is out there not dragging away, but deporting illegals, if you are an illegal immigrant, if you've broken the law, if you are a criminal, then you are going to be processed, and you're taken back to your country of origin or some other country that's going to take you. If you're a criminal, you're at the top of that list. These people that are being deported, they're gang members, they're drug dealers, they're murderers, they're thugs, they're rapists, they're all these different things. And so that's why they're being removed from the country, to keep Americans safe. So what Don Lemon is doing is he's suggesting that these people go out and get weapons. If you're an American citizen, sure, go out. I would recommend every American citizen go out and get a weapon. I wouldn't recommend if somebody comes to your door and arrests you that you shoot them. That's never a good thing. If somebody comes to your door and arrests you, get a lawyer, ask to see the arrest warrant, that kind of thing. But if you're an illegal immigrant, you know why they're there. And if you shoot the ICE agent, you're exacerbating the situation. But Don Lemon's like, no, I think we should all of a sudden, Don Lemon and the Democrats love the Second Amendment. And then they wonder, Don Lemon says, go out and shoot ICE agents, illegal people, go out and buy guns. And then they wonder, why is it that Caroline Leavitt is calling them terrorists? You have school superintendents who are illegally here in this country running for office, which is not a smart thing to do, and winning. And then they get deported. And Hakeem Jeffries is saying, what is she talking about? That illegal immigrants are infiltrating the Democrat Party and running for office. She's crazy. She's demented. She's ignorant. People in glass houses. I think that's the whole thing. But they go on. They're going to continue with this. Tomorrow is the No Kings protest, which, by the way, President Donald Trump was asked about the No Kings protest. There, a lot with these No Kings protesters, and there's going to be No Kings protesters here in Jacksonville. And I'm headed out, like I said, to go to the No Kings protest. And I'm not sure what I'm going to, I'm still putting together my outfit as we discussed earlier, but there's going to be no Kings protests all over. And I imagine some of them will erupt in violence. And I imagine the violence that erupts will be started by the Democrats, because that's their go-to. Oh, look at that. Hold on. We got our first cha-ching chat. Oh, that's amazing. We got one from Chris Carter on YouTube. Chris Carter on YouTube sent us a $5 cha-ching chat. Thank you. And wrote, what was the name of that movie about the Antichrist? Oh, The Omen? Is that what? Oh, you mean the one? I'm sorry. The Omen was a great movie from the 70s with Gregory Peck, where Damien, is that the one? No, you're talking about the one that from Dinesh D'Souza. I think it was called The Dragon's Prophecy. The Dragon's Prophecy. And that is available now for streaming. The Dragon's Prophecy is our good buddy Dinesh D'Souza was on the show last week, and he spoke all about it and how it's the Revelation chapter 12 coming to light. So yeah, The Dragon's Prophecy film is where you want to go to download that. Yes, thank you, Chris. Thank you so much for the super chat, or for the cha-ching chat rather. We really appreciate it. Looks like I think we got another one. Yeah, look at that. The cha-chinger is going off because Harley Quinzel sent us a cha-ching chat on Rumble. And it says, I will be at my Cajun family reunion tomorrow. Won't be any of that No Kings crap. My Cajun, the family, about 99% conservatives. Mark K show still my favorite. Well, Harley Quinzel, I would hope that Mark K show is still your favorite. It's also Mark K saves the Republic. But I appreciate that. I appreciate the sentiment. And don't forget to send in your cha-chings. But the No Kings rally tomorrow, Donald Trump was asked about this by Maria Bartiromo, who he sat down and did an interview with. Here's what he said about the No Kings rally.
Mr. President, do you think that the government shutdown is all about this rally that's happening this weekend, the No Kings rally?
No, I mean, some people say they want to delay it for a king. This is
more
not
than
a king. They're referring to me as a king. I'm not a king.
Right. No, but just so that Chuck Schumer could go and say, I'm fighting Trump.
Yeah, well, Chuck is, at the end of the line. He's being beaten by everybody that they poll against him. And, what he did is he did the right thing a couple of years ago on something like this. And he got hurt by his party. And it doesn't, I don't think it matters to him. I think he's just so dead that he'll do anything. I think they could just stay out forever. I mean, to be honest with you. Now, what we're doing is we're cutting Democrat programs that we didn't want because, they made one mistake. They didn't realize that gives me the right to cut programs that Republicans never wanted. Giveaways, welfare programs, etc. And we're doing that, and we're cutting them permanently. We're cutting a $20 billion project that Schumer fought for 15 years to get. and I'm cutting the project. The project is going to be dead. It is pretty much dead right now.
I mean, think about what President Donald Trump's saying. He's saying that Chuck Schumer, it doesn't matter. No kings, no schmings, whatever it is. But Chuck Schumer has been basically destroying his own legacy in multiple different ways. He's been destroying his own legacy in multiple different ways because of this government shutdown. First of all, he's shutting down the government for his own selfish political ploy. He wants to win another term. He's not going. I mean, I doubt it. I doubt he would win another term at this point. But I posted on Facebook earlier today, this has been my favorite government shutdown so far. How about you? And most people are in agreement. Mara wrote, look, I'm not getting paid. I still have to go to work, but I'll tell you, this has been the best shutdown ever. I hope it goes on just as long enough as required in order to make sure that we can get the job done. I mean, this is people who aren't getting paid, people who are furloughed. Jonathan wrote, since I'm exempt, yes. Jack wrote, the skies are clear of chemtrails. That's different. I can still walk in the national park every day, so better than the last shutdown. A couple of people writing now. But look, shutdown equals cleaning house. Carry on. It's true. Everybody is looking at this shutdown. Nobody on the right is going, wow, it's awful. Wow, I can't get anything done. If anything, people are like, we know how these shutdowns turn out. Eventually the standoff will end. Eventually everyone's going to get paid again and the furloughs will end. But this is different because Donald Trump and Russ Vought are cleaning house. And they are shutting down programs that the Democrats love, that the Democrats have created, that the Democrats have adopted, that the Democrats have abused for decades. And because the Democrats refuse to open up the government, Donald Trump is saying, all right, we'll get rid of them. Obviously, you guys weren't serious. Obviously, you guys seriously don't care about this stuff. So we'll just get rid of it. It'll just be done. We'll just, we'll be done with it and we'll move on. And these protests that are planned tomorrow, 100% the shutdown continues because of these planned protests, because they need the government to be shut down to add emphasis and oomph to their already ridiculous idea that there's a king in this country. Donald Trump said, he goes, I don't think I'm a king. I mean, he's not a king. If he were a king, the government would be open. If he were a king, there'd be no government shutdown. He would just, I don't know, he just open the government back up. It never would have been closed. There would be no congressional power to fund the government. Donald Trump would just fund it. If there were a king in this country, there would be no king's protests. If there were a king in this country, Don Lemon wouldn't be allowed on the internet to say, hey, you should go out and buy a gun and shoot any law enforcement agent who comes to your door and tries to drag you away. That would not end well for Don Lemon if he lived in a true kingdom. But he does not. He lives in the United States of America. And here in the United States of America, we have the First Amendment. So he's free to say whatever stupid stuff that he wants, as is Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader, is free to get up and badmouth and bash a young, talented mom, barely, not even 30 years old. Or wait, did she just turn 30? She may have just turned 30. That young woman, professional woman, white woman. He just calling her all kinds of horrible, terrible name. Do you know what would happen if he called a black woman ignorant? I'm not even going to tell you. If you know a black woman, ask her, and it would be a whole different scenario. Donald Trump had a lot of questions. He got a question about John Bolton. John Bolton yesterday was indicted, and John Bolton got indicted on 18 counts of mishandling top secret documents. Also, apparently, the dude kept a journal. He kept a journal every single day that he was in President Trump's cabinet or, UN ambassador or whatever it was. He kept a journal throughout his time in government, and he would write everything down. Now, I've never actually worked in government, not yet, but I know for a fact you're not supposed to write down sensitive pieces of information. You're not supposed to write down information that is top secret or classified or need to know. You're not supposed to write down any of that stuff. You're definitely not supposed to take top secret documents out of the SCIF or wherever it is you see them, the secured location. And John Bolton apparently did all of that. If you do that, which A, is already illegal, you're not supposed to show them to anybody. But we know that in the past, Joe Biden kept his top secret documents in the garage. I have to imagine somebody stumbled on them. Maybe Hunter, in a drunken or drug-addled stupor, stumbled into the garage one day looking for the keys to the old Mustang 67 convertible, take it for a spin, and maybe go, cruise the strip looking for some hookers. Maybe he stumbled across the transfer case with the top secret documents in it. It doesn't matter. Joe Biden was never charged because he was an old, he was an old man with a poor memory that no jury would ever indict. So they just didn't even charge him. He just got away with it. Donald Trump, the only person who actually has the ability to declassify top secret documents at will, was charged for having top secret documents, even though he said, I declassified those. And now you've got John Bolton, who was dumb enough to write all this stuff down, show it to his wife. We believe also his daughter took a peek. Really, I don't know what's going on with this guy, but he was indicted and Donald Trump was asked about it. And here's what he said.
President John Bolton was just indicted by a grand jury in Maryland. Do you have a reaction to that?
I didn't know that. You tell me for the first time, but I think he's, a bad person. I think he's a bad guy. Yeah, he's a bad guy. It's too bad, but it's the way it goes.
He's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. I think Donald Trump is a master at summing things up. 2 syllables. Bad guy. You know what everyone's going to think about John Bolton? Whether you knew about John Bolton or not, whether you knew who John Bolton was or you didn't, whether you'd understood what these charges were against John Bolton or not, all you're going to hear now is Donald Trump saying bad guy. Donald Trump is a genius communicator. People always said that, the great communicator was Ronald Reagan. And okay, Ronald Reagan was a great communicator. A lot of people love the way that George Washington would turn a phrase, even though Alexander Hamilton wrote most of his phrases. And Abraham Lincoln in the Gettysburg Address is one for the ages. That's 227 words that nobody will ever forget. But Donald Trump does something even better. Donald Trump can sum up in 2 syllables everything you need to know about a person or everything he wants you to know about a person. John Bolton, he's a bad guy. And most people who aren't familiar with John Bolton but know Donald Trump and love Donald Trump and trust Donald Trump and support Donald Trump are going to go, oh, John Bolton's a bad guy. If someone were a good guy, you know what Donald Trump would say? Good guy, great guy. He said it about Steve Witkoff. Steve Witkoff the other day, everybody likes him. That's what we know about him. Steve Witkoff was one of the administration officials who was sent by Donald Trump. He was tasked, by the way, with finding peace in the Middle East, and now he's going to be going to Russia, I'm sure, with Marco Rubio. But Steve Witkoff, people didn't know. I mean, I think he's a billionaire or he's really rich. He owns a real estate company. He's a real estate developer. That's how Donald Trump knows him. And Donald Trump said, good guy, great guy. Everybody loves him. So now, if you didn't know about Steve Witkoff, here's what you know. He's a good guy. And he brought peace to the Middle East. Of course he did, because he's a good guy. Only a good guy would do that. Bad guys, they go to jail. And John Bolton, he's a bad guy. This is why Donald Trump wins elections. Kamala Harris, she rolled in and she tried to, win an election with all these funny phrases and all these turns of, and what was it she would say all the time? What was her dumb thing that she said all the time? Unburdened by what a future, unburdened by what has been, or what could be unburdened by what has been. Nobody understands what that means right off the bat. Our future will be unburdened by what has been. That takes a little bit of thought for the average person. Donald Trump rolls in and says, make America great again. I get that. We all know what that means. Make America great again. Great. Let's do that. That sounds like a good plan. Dumb it down, man. Don't use a 3, and I'm guilty of this myself. I use the biggest words all the time. I need to stop. I need to dumb it down. I need to start saying good guy, bad guy. That's going to be my next book. Good guy, bad guy. Because it's true. The more people that understand what you're saying, the more people you can communicate with. And the more people you can communicate with, the more people are going to be on your side, no matter what that side is. It's really something that's special. But Donald Trump reacting to John Bolton's indictment, and bad guy is all you really need to take away from that. The other thing about John Bolton, excuse me. Before we get to that, we got another cha-ching chat. This one's from Ernest Hatfield. What's up, Ernest? If the freedom of speech is taken away, then dumb and silent we may be led, like sheep to the slaughter. George Washington. Have a great rest of the day, Mark and Patriots, and a better weekend. Ernest Hatfield, thank you. Thank you so much for that amazing quote. Thank you so much for that great sentiment. And thank you again for your cha-ching chat. We definitely appreciate all the help and all the assistance you've been giving us over the years. And we appreciate you keep coming back. And every time we pass the hat, you fill it up. Ernest Hatfield. See, I used hat there because, let me say this about Ernest Hatfield. Ready? Good guy. Great guy. Everybody likes him. I could say something else. I could be like, oh, he's an incredible individual. Not, incredible individual. Okay, great. Good guy. Great guy. That's all you need. That's all you need to know about Ernest Hatfield. Hey, thanks so much again. We really appreciate it. If you want to set off the cha-chinger, by the way, it's super simple. Just send us a Rumble rant or send us a super chat in the old FB, and we'll get that on there, or in the old Rumble or the YouTube, and we'll get that on there as soon as possible. Anyway, the other thing about this John Bolton indictment is that the John Bolton indictment is very different than the other indictments, and they've tried to group all of these. They've tried to group all of these indictments together, James Comey, Letitia James. But I read an article on CNN, which I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know who wrote it, but maybe they got some new blood at CNN, but I'm going to read this to you because I think it's spot on. I think it's spot on why the Bolton indictment is different from the Comey and James cases. All right, let me preface this. Half of it is right. The other half is BS. For the third time in 3 weeks, President Donald Trump's Justice Department has secured an indictment against one of his most prominent foes, someone whom Trump has accused of crimes and indicated should be prosecuted. Now, that is true. These three people have been well-known Donald Trump foes. James Comey threatened to kill Donald Trump with a shell formation on the beach. And Letitia James tried to throw him in jail for bogus crimes. John Bolton, bad guy. But this is different. John Bolton, who served as Trump's national security advisor in his first term before turning against him, joins former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James in facing charges. Bolton is charged with 18 counts of retaining and transmitting classified information dating back to his time in Trump's White House. He allegedly shared the information with family members who didn't have security clearances. That rapid progression means Bolton's indictment will often be lumped in with Comey's and James's as an example of Trump weaponizing the justice system against his foes. Trump's role in orchestrating the charges against Comey and James had certainly warranted that narrative, given it has no parallel in decades of American politics. Well, except, of course, for Joe Biden. Now, I have become the latest target in weaponizing the Justice Department to charge those Trump deems to be his enemies with charges that were declined before he distorted the facts, Bolton said in a statement. Bolton's lawyer, Abby Lowell, denied blah, 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 blah. Here's the differences. The way the case was brought. In Bolton's case, there is less of a through line between Trump's conduct and the charges. Yes, Bolton is someone Trump spotlighted for prosecution, like Comey and James as far back as 2020. Trump accused Bolton of breaking the law and warned there would be a really big price to pay. Now he will have bombs dropped on him, Trump said. But Trump doesn't appear to have played a similar role in orchestrating the charges against Bolton, at least from what we know. He didn't publicly push for the charges as much in recent weeks, and he certainly didn't force out a prosecutor who resisted the charges before installing a loyalist who brought them, like he did in the Eastern District of Virginia. I don't think that's true, but that's okay. The Bolton charges were ultimately brought by experienced prosecutors, including U.S. Attorney Kelly O'Hayes, who has served in the District of Maryland since 2013, and nonpartisan career prosecutor Tom Sullivan. So, all of a sudden, because the Democrats say, or because CNN says, these are actual prosecutors that we like and trust, these are career Maryland prosecutors, these are prosecutors who have actually prosecuted cases that we agree with, now we have to think twice, and we can't say this is a typical weaponization of government by Donald Trump to subvert and to punish his political foes, because we got legitimate lawyers bringing these cases. A judge once suggested Bolton might have broken the law. That Bolton is facing charges isn't nearly as surprising. In fact, a federal judge back in 2020 basically warned of exactly that. U.S. District Judge Royce Lamberth ruled in Bolton's favor in a civil case stemming from a dispute with the Trump administration over the publication of Bolton's book. But Lamberth otherwise excoriated Bolton for his handling of classified information. He said in his ruling, quote, Bolton likely jeopardized national security by disclosing classified information in violation of his non-disclosure agreement obligations. He has exposed his country to harm and himself to civil and potentially criminal liability, a federal judge said in his ruling. John Bolton wrote a book, disclosed the fact that he disclosed information in that book that was top secret. And in doing so, he set himself up for exactly what's happening now, the indictment against him. He did everything that he's been charged with, and he wrote about it in his book. And then when he went to civil court over that, a judge said, look, dude, you're not civilly liable for whatever Donald Trump's saying, but you definitely are criminally liable. You're criminally liable. Well, of course, the Department of Justice is going to look at that and go, oh, judge already ruled. This judge already ruled and said you're criminally liable, so we're going to run with that. And we're going to get reputable lawyers in the state of Maryland to come after you, and then we're going to raid your Greenbelt home, and we're going to take out all these boxes, and we're going to find what we're looking for, and then we're going to charge you. Why? Because you are a bad guy. What Bolton is accused of is quite simply a much bigger deal than Comey's alleged false statement to Congress. Ain't nothing alleged about it. And James's alleged mortgage fraud. Again, I know, innocent till proven guilty. I get all that. But let's be honest. An alleged offense which even the available evidence suggests would only have netted her a few $1,000s. That's because Bolton isn't just accused of retaining and... By the way, I disagree with this statement. Letitia James, an alleged offense which even the available evidence suggests would only have netted her a few $1,000s. So what they're saying now is a public official committing mortgage fraud isn't that big a deal because it was only a few $1,000s. If it had been millions of dollars, it would have been a bigger deal. Is that what we're saying? Why is it that the amount of money that you make from your criminal activities negate? I never wondered that. I never understood that either. If you steal something that's $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000, it's still stealing. You're still breaking the law. I never understood that. I don't know. That's like the same people that came up with progressive taxes are the same people that probably came up with these progressive penalties. Like in New York, it's not even a misdemeanor anymore if you steal a $999 handbag from Bloomingdale's. But if it's $1,000, all of a sudden you're going to jail? Makes absolutely no sense. Anyway, the indictment states that sometime in the 2 years after Bolton left the White House in 2019, a cyber actor believed to be associated with the Islamic Republic of Iran hacked Bolton's personal email account and gained authorized access to the classified and national defense information in that account. The indictment says Bolton notified the government of the hack, but not the potential exposure of sensitive information. CNN senior legal analyst Eli Honig said that if that can be proved, it will show Bolton's mishandling of classified information to be more serious than the series of prominent politicians facing similar problems in recent years, including Hillary Clinton and Trump himself. What they're saying is John Bolton mishandled information so badly that Islamic terrorists most likely got their hands on it. And as a result, he should go to jail for a very, 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 very long time. Whether that happens remains to be seen, but that is what people believe should happen. I want to dip in here quickly to the White House because
peace. This is important.
Peace.
We don't speak about.
He always says peace, it always sounds different. Zelensky's at the White House right now, so I want to listen in for just a minute.
It's our decisions of allies to decide where we are.
But are you willing to give
Yes,
up
but the
NATO?
most important thing for people in Ukraine, which are under each day's attacks, to have really strong security guarantees. NATO is the best, but weapon is very important. Allies on our side is very important, and between us, for us, bilateral security guarantees between me and President Trump is very important. I don't know, we didn't speak with details about it, but this is the most important document because the United States is very strong.
Sir, President Trump, you are the middleman right now, hoping to end this conflict. Who is doing a better job negotiating, President Zelensky or President Putin?
I think they're both doing a great job in that sense. We have to get it done. We've got to take some of the hatred of each other. You know, they don't like each other. I say that in front of President Zelensky, but I say it in front of President Putin too. They have tremendous bad blood. It's really is what is holding up, I think, a settlement. I think we're going to get it done, and we have to make it long-lasting. As I said in the Middle East, everlasting, right? Everlasting. And the Middle East is a much more complicated situation. You know, we had 59 countries involved, and every one of them agreed. And it's, you know, it's sort of amazing. Most people didn't think that was doable. This is going to be something I really believe that's going to get done. I had a very good talk yesterday with President Putin. I think he wants to get it done.
And President Zelensky, right behind you. When we were in Israel with President Trump earlier in the week, we heard a lot about the difference in diplomacy between President Trump and President Joe Biden before him. What do you see as the biggest difference in diplomacy between President Trump
good question, Peter Ducey.
and President Biden?
President Trump has a big chance now to finish this war. President Biden now is not the president, so he doesn't have a chance to finish this war. And President Trump is really showed for the world that he can manage ceasefire in Middle East, and that's why I hope that he will do this, and we will also have such big success. For Ukraine, it's a big chance, and I hope that President Trump can manage it.
I would say the biggest difference is one is extremely competent, and the other one is grossly incompetent.
Sir, a few weeks ago in New York when you two met, you said that you think Ukraine could ultimately take back all the territory that it's lost so far. Do you still think that's the case, or do you think there'll have to be some sort of
You never
swap of
know. Look,
territories?
you know, war is very interesting. You never know, do you? You just never know. With war and peace, but you never know. Please.
Russia calls Tomahawk supply to Ukraine as an escalation, yet it continues using similar cruise missiles like Caliber. And
Yeah.
even
Who are you with? Who are you with? You Ukraine?
Yeah.
Good.
But Russia continue even using the cruise missiles and also nuclear-capable ballistic missiles in Ukraine since 2022. So do you consider providing Ukraine with the Tomahawk or similar missiles as an opportunity to equalize the possibilities of Ukraine and Russia and push Moscow to the negotiation table?
Sure. We're going to be talking about that. That's why we're here. Okay? Fair question. Exactly as he told you to say it. But we're going to be talking about it. Okay? Yeah, please.
Mr. President, message to India and Hungary, who is still refusing.
You said India and Hungary? That's an interesting.
And Hungary
India and Hungary. It's an interesting combination.
refuse to stop buying Russian oil.
Well, India is not going to be buying Russian oil anymore. And Hungary is sort of stuck because they have one pipeline that's been there for years and years and years, and they're inland. They don't have sea. They don't have sea. And I spoke with the very great leader of Hungary, and they are, you know, it's very hard for them to get oil. I understand it. Hungary's in a very interesting position because they can't have ports. You know, they're surrounded by land. So we'll see what happens there. But India will not be buying oil from Russia. And, they've already de-escalated, and they've more or less stopped. They're pulling back. They bought about 38% of the oil, and they won't be doing it anymore.
I mean, that's huge, by the way. That's a massive thing that people don't even talk about.
Who has?
First Lady Melania Trump
Yeah.
has been helping in returning abducted Ukrainian children from Russian captivity. President Zelensky, do you appreciate those efforts? How do you assess them? And did you ask her to step in to help you?
No, she wanted to do it. She felt very strongly about the children, and she's done a really good job, I think, in bringing it to the fore. You know, we have a lot of children involved. Now, it's some people say it's 20,000, and some people say it's 300. There's a big difference between that, so nobody really knows. But she felt very strongly about the children. She thinks about the children all the time.
President Trump, if you okay Tomahawks to Ukraine, what's going to happen if the United States is in a conflict and we need the Tomahawks? Do we
Well,
have enough?
that's a problem. We need Tomahawks, and we need a lot of other things that we've been sending over the last 4 years to Ukraine. We've been, we gave them a lot. Now we have a different situation. We send it to the European Union. They pay for it and all that, and they have plenty of money. But it's beyond the money. We need Tomahawks, or we need a lot of other weapons that we're sending to Ukraine. One of the reasons we want to get this war over is exactly that. It's not easy for us to give. You're talking about massive numbers of very powerful weapons. So that's one of the things we'll be talking about. Hopefully they won't need it. Hopefully we'll be able to get the war over with without thinking about Tomahawks.
I
think we're fairly close to that. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I say,
yeah, please.
Just to understand. So,
Oh yeah, we forgot
today,
Zelensky's there.
Of course, we want to finish this war, but the war is another technological war. You don't use just Tomahawks. If you want to target a military goal, you need thousands of drones. It goes together with such missiles. Ukraine has such thousands of our production drones, but we don't have Tomahawks. That's why we need Tomahawks. But United States is a very strong production, and the United States has Tomahawks and other missiles, very strong missiles, but they can have our thousands of drones. That's why where we can work together, where we can strengthen American production.
And so just so that I understand, so you're suggesting kind of a trade. If President Trump okays Tomahawk missiles to help you launch...
Yes, it's
into
about
Russia,
military goals. It's only about military goals.
Right, but then you would authorize some kind of an exchange where
yes, of course.
the U.S.
Yes, we have proposition. We have big proposition with our drones.
President Trump, I don't mean to be brokering an arms deal here, but is that something that you would be interested in, Ukrainian drones?
We are, yeah, we would. We have a lot of drones right now. We build our own drones, but we also buy drones from others, and they make a very good drone. I mean, drone warfare has really come to the fore over the last couple of years because of this war. I will say, there's nothing like the jets. We knocked out a lot of drones in Israel. We were knocking them out for Israel, and we were doing it with extremely fast and powerful jets, following the drones and knocking the hell out of them. So, we know a lot about the drones, and we know a lot about the great jets, the great ones. The ones, well,
not the ones from New York,
B-52s, which were totally they were stealth.
We know about the great jets, not the jets in New York.
Weapons.
They're not the.
And
not those.
I have an obligation also, though, to make sure that we're completely stocked up as a country, because you never know what's going to happen in war and peace, right? You never know what's going to happen. So we're going to be talking about Tomahawks, and would much rather have them not need Tomahawks. Would much rather have the war be over, to be honest, because, we're in it to get the war over. We're selling a lot of different types of weapon, as you know, to the European Union. We're not in it for that. We're in it to get it over. We're losing thousands of people a week, thousands of people, Russian, Ukrainian, mostly soldiers. Mostly soldiers. But we're in it to see that end. And if we can end quickly, and I think we can. I had a very good talk yesterday. We're going to be talking about it. But I had a very productive talk yesterday with President Putin. We'll see what happens. But the war in the Middle East was far more complicated. We got that one done. And I think we have a good chance. I think President Zelensky wants it done, and I think President Putin wants it done. Now all they have to do is get along a little bit.
That's all it's going to take. Just sit down and
give us an update on the trade negotiations with China, or perhaps Secretary Bessent.
Yeah, I will, and I'm going to let Scott do that. But I think we're doing very well. I think we're getting along with China. China would like to have something. As of this moment, we'll be meeting in a couple of weeks. We'll be meeting in South Korea.
You think
myself.
Will go forward?
I think so. It looks like it's going forward. I think so. They want to meet. We like to meet. I have a very good relationship with President Xi, and we're going to see what happens. But, for years we were taken advantage of by China very badly. We were losing hundreds of billions of dollars a year to China. We really built their military, if you think about it. The kind of money that presidents allowed to be lost to China was just insane. And then when I came into office, as you know, I put very severe tariffs. So we took in hundreds of billions of dollars in my first term from China. Biden let that go because it was so much. He let it continue, but he gave all sorts of exceptions. And by the time you looked at it, Scott, I would say it wasn't the same thing. He would give an exception for anything. If you got up and went out to dinner, he'd give you an exception. So it wasn't the same thing. But I put on very serious tariffs. So we took in hundreds of billions of dollars. And then I left office. The election was rigged. I left office, and that was the story. Now I come back, and we are in a very strong position because of tariffs. We're in a very powerful position because of the fact that we have tariffs. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be in a very weak position. We would be in a weakened state. But with tariffs, we've made hundreds of billions of dollars, not only from China, but from others. And China wants to talk, and we like talking to China. So we have a very good relationship, and we're going to be meeting in South Korea a couple of weeks. And I just got back from a long trip. I'm going on another long trip. And Scott, you want to say a few words on that, please?
Yes, sir.
All right, so while Scott Besson's talking about China, which is fine, I do want to mention the oil in India. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, and this is such... I don't know why more people aren't discussing this, but President Donald Trump, in his first term in office, he basically got everybody to stop buying oil from Iran. And he said, if you want to do business with the United States, you can't do business with Iran. If you're doing business with Iran, we're going to cut you off. It's just not even going to happen. You're not going to be able to import anything. And when given the choice between the United States of America, the largest economy in the world, and Iran, which is a desert, basically, with a bunch of terrorists, people chose the United States of America, and Iran was bankrupt as a result. All their money was gone. And when Iran became bankrupt, what happened was they could not send money to Hamas. They could not send money to Hezbollah. They could not send money to the Houthis or any of the other terrorist organizations that all start with H, apparently. They couldn't state-sponsor terror. They couldn't send terrorists over here. They couldn't do anything like that. They could barely run their nuclear program because... all right, we'll get back to that in a minute. They could barely run their nuclear program because they didn't have any cash, and it was peaceful. That's why Donald Trump's first term was peaceful, because Iran had no money because no one was buying their oil. He's trying to do the same thing with Russia now, and India is their largest customer. 38% of Russian oil goes to India.
China doesn't want that,
and now they're done.
They want to talk, and we're talking, and I think
it's a huge thing.
Will be good for both. I think we will do something, but you have to understand, we never got anything from China. It was a one-way street. For many years, for decades, it was a one-way street. And they became rich because of the United States. And frankly, presidents that, let's be nice, they didn't know. They just didn't know. They didn't understand what was happening to them. But I understood it. I understood it long before I ran for politics. I used to watch in amazement at how stupid our country was, how stupid they were. And we're not stupid anymore. And that includes with the European Union. That includes with Japan and South Korea. All we want to do is be treated fairly. But the fairly is hundreds of billions and even trillions of dollars coming into the United States. And it's our national security is secure because of tariffs. If we didn't have tariffs, we would have no national security. So it's very important.
Will you seek China's help in ending the war in Ukraine? Do you need them to put pressure on Russia?
I'll be discussing that, but I'd love to see it ended before that.
President,
I mean, I think we have a chance of ending the war quickly if flexibility is shown on behalf. And again, we're not losing people. The United States is not. We're not losing people. We're not spending money. We're getting paid for the, ammunition and missiles and everything else that we're sending to the European Union, but to NATO. But it's very similar. If you look at the countries, I mean, it's very similar. And we just made a very fair trade deal with the European Union. And what we wanted, and we made a very good deal with NATO, too. They pay for all of this. That's not what we're in this for. We're in it to save thousands of lives every week. Thousands and thousands of lives. That's why we're in it. And I think we have a very good chance of bringing this war to a conclusion.
If Donald Trump, by the way,
President, in your cabinet has done honestly an excellent job. I think that a lot of people could agree to that.
Thank you.
I'm speaking as someone who lost my father in a war, so I know the human cost. What would your advice be to American leaders, to world leaders, to neocons, to TV hosts who often speak about conflict in abstract or strategic terms rather than the human cost and the human terms?
That's a good
Like
question.
My only statement is we
The
have to get
neocons
together. It's a very
and the
small
TV
group of people. It's the president, and the president. Okay, 3 presidents. And I'm the mediator president. And I'm mediating not an easy situation. It should be easy, but it's a lot easier when people understand each other, when they get together, and when they like each other. We don't necessarily have that situation as far as like is concerned. Maybe it can turn around. Maybe it can. But in the meantime, we'll have them keep a little bit of distance, and we're going to see if we can get it done. This is number 9, okay? This will be number 9 for me. I've solved 8, including the Middle East. I've solved 8. This, I thought, would have been among the easiest. We solved, President Putin mentioned yesterday Armenia, all of the different wars. He said it was amazing but the big one that he was surprised that we were able to settle was the Middle East. He thought it was incredible. He was very generous in that sense. This should be something we're able to settle, and I think we will be able to settle.
Brian. Sir, on that note, you will go down as the peacemaker, no doubt, and you will resolve this war.
Well, we resolved 8 others. It's funny how people say that. If you get this one, every time I do one, they forget about that one. I solved 8 wars. Go to Rwanda and the Congo, talk about India and Pakistan, look at Thailand, look at all of the wars that we solved. And every time I solve one, they say, if you solve the next one, you're going to get the Nobel Prize. I didn't get a Nobel Prize. Somebody got it who's a very nice woman, very nice. I don't know who she is, but she was very generous.
Very nice.
So I don't care about all that stuff. I just care about saving lives. But this will be number 9. But every time I solve one, they said, sir, if you solve one more, you're going to be known as a peacekeeper. So to the best of my knowledge, we've never had a president that solved one war. Not one war. Bush started a war. A lot of them start wars, but they don't solve the wars. They don't settle them. And especially when they have nothing to do with us. I guess just about all of these wars had nothing to do with us. But I saved tens of millions of lives. The Prime Minister of Pakistan said, I saved millions of lives in interceding on Pakistan, and you look at Pakistan and India as an example. That would have been a bad one, 2 nuclear nations, right? So I say this, this is pretty much the last one, although I do understand that Pakistan attacked, or there is an attack going on with Afghanistan. That's an easy one for me to solve if I have to solve it. In the meantime, I have to run the USA, but I love solving wars. You know why? I like stopping people from being killed, and I've saved millions and millions of lives, and I think we're going to have success with this war.
Wait, please. This, President Zelensky, this is your 3rd time over here.
Oh.
And by the way, you look excellent.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, it's the same. It's the suit guy again. It's the guy.
This time here. How different sitting across from the president is this time versus the 2 previous times here at the White House, and how confident are you hearing the success rate of solving these prior wars that he can get this war solved?
First of all, about suit. The same suit because the same president. It's very simple. The next president will have another suit. Yes, about our relations with
that joke fell
President
flat.
Trump. I think
I wouldn't bring up the next president.
Important
I don't know
dialogues.
that Donald Trump's going to like that.
And I think we began to understand each other. Yes, and I know that President is briefed very well about situation in the battlefield, and he knows a lot what's going on the battlefield in Ukraine, and I think it really helps when you know a lot of things, a lot of details about one or another war. It helps a lot, but we are still in war, and I hope we can manage.
You are being
I think
that
it's
there are some
important.
countries that are not meeting their commitment.
You pointed out Spain. They said that like it's impossible.
No, Spain has not come through. No, Spain has not been loyal to NATO. Spain has been, they're the only one. Everyone went up to, as you know, I mean, you were at 2% and they all went up to 5%, but Spain disagreed with that. I think Spain should be reprimanded for that. I think it's very bad that they did that, but that's up to them. That's up to NATO and Spain.
Very bad. Very bad. Again, it's very simple. Spain, very bad.
Can they or not?
They cannot, according to the treaty, but they also claim that they are protected by the European Union umbrella for trade.
Well, the other people, many of the other countries are in the European Union too. They're not complaining, right?
President Trump can tell you that Putin is serious.
That's of interest.
Mr.
They're
President.
protected. Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Do you think you can carry the momentum from the Middle East deal over to this deal? And if
I do.
So, how does that move the needle?
Yeah, I do. I think we carry a lot of momentum, a lot of credibility. Getting Middle East done was very important. Nobody thought it could be done. That was one nobody thought could be done, and we got it done. And a lot of that was the big hit that we put on Iran with respect to the nuclear. They took that was an unbelievable military maneuver, the B-2s, and many other planes involved, by the way, but the B-2s. Yeah, I think nobody expected that to happen, and we had 59 countries involved, and these were countries very diverse. You had Arab, Muslim, Jewish. You had every country, Christian. You had every country, and many countries involved, and we got that done. And we got it done pretty swiftly after we set the table properly. We had to set the table properly. This should be one that we get done. And I think the table is set properly here now, too. And it'll be a great honor. It'll be a great honor to get it done. And the Ukrainian people are great, and the Russian people are great. And obviously they have much in common, as we understand. They have a lot in common. So it'll be a great honor to get it done. Yeah.
On Venezuela, there are survivors from your latest boat strike. What happens to those survivors?
Well, I'll ask Marco to discuss that.
Oh, survivors from the last boat strike.
It's well known there's an ongoing narco-terrorist operation the United States has been conducting. As far as details of any recent strikes, we're not prepared here to announce all those details, but you'll get that information here very shortly.
And how are there survivors when these are meant to be lethal attacks?
Yeah, again, I mean, we're undertaking these operations against narco-terrorists. That's what these are. These are terrorists. Let's be clear. And but as far as the details of any recent operations, when we are prepared to announce those, we will, as the president has consistently done. So you may get something on that later today.
Let me ask you, that was in a submarine, right? We attacked a submarine, and that was a drug-carrying submarine.
Donald Trump's like, I'll give you details.
Specifically for the transportation of massive amounts of drugs, just so you understand. This was not an innocent group of people. I don't know too many people that have submarines, and that was an attack on a drug-carrying, loaded-up submarine. Yeah.
Marco Rubio, we're not prepared to talk about it. Donald Trump, I'll talk about it.
Said yesterday
that was a submarine full of drugs.
And costs.
Big drug sub. And we just bombed the drug. Yeah, Marco Rubio, what do you want to say about it? We're not prepared to talk about it. No, we're going to talk about it.
I think he wants to make a deal. That's all. I can't tell you what's bringing him. Sure, that's the threat of that is good, but the threat of that is always there. Tomahawks are very dangerous weapons. They're incredible weapons. If you like warfare, it's one of the most accurate. We hit 30 Tomahawks in Iran after the B-2s did their damage. We sort of gave it a little capper with 30 Tomahawks from a submarine. Quite far away, actually, but they're an amazing weapon. They're a very powerful weapon, but they're a very dangerous weapon, and it could mean big, escalation. It could mean a lot of bad things can happen. Tomahawks are a big deal. But one thing I have to say, we want Tomahawks also. We don't want to be giving away things that we need to protect our country. We have a very strong country right now. We have a strong military. We have the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest weapons in the world. I want to get this war over.
Putin,
Putin-Trump tunnel to connect Russia and Alaska. Are you interested?
I just heard about it. A tunnel from Russia to Alaska. I just heard about that one. That's an interesting one. We'll have
Why
to
do we
think
need a
about
tunnel?
that.
Why do we
I
need a
hadn't
tunnel
heard that.
from
We
Russia
just did
to
a nice
Alaska?
road in Alaska that's going to get us to a lot of minerals.
Yeah.
And we have a piece of it, a good piece of the ownership because of the fact we made it possible. But this came up yesterday, a tunnel from Russia to Alaska. That's an interesting. What do you think of that, Mr. President? Do you have any ideas? How do you like that idea?
I'm not happy with this.
I don't think you're going to like it. I don't think you liked it. I don't think you like it.
President Trump, do you think that Vladimir Putin, do you think that Putin, your gut instinct?
Well, we had a senator that wanted, remember, from Hawaii, she wanted a tunnel from the mainland to Hawaii, and she said, well, we can't do that, so we're going to build a railroad to Hawaii. Do you remember? She's a current sitting senator, a Democrat.
I think it was
She wants a
AOC.
railroad to go to Hawaii. Right?
Was that her?
You know who that
I
is,
thought it
right?
was AOC.
She's another.
President
She's
Trump,
another
you
beauty.
have a really, President Trump, on Putin, your gut instinct.
Yeah,
on
please.
Putin.
On your meeting with Putin, aren't you concerned that maybe the Russian president is trying to buy himself more time?
Yeah, I am. But you know, I've been played all my life by the best of them, and I came out really well. So it's possible. Yeah, a little time.
Is your gut
It's
instinct
all right. But I think that I'm pretty good at this stuff. I think that he wants to make a deal. I made 8 of them. I'm going to make a 9th. I think he wants to make a deal.
Do you consider Russia to be a paper tiger? Do you think, judging by the state of its economy,
Well, I think that he should have won the war in a week. Yeah, I do think. And if we didn't give the anti-tank missiles, as you know, the javelins they call them, they got stuck in the mud. They would have been in Kiev very quickly. They were heading to Kiev. So, you know, in war you have a lot of luck too. You know, weather has won war, and the cold and the heat and all things take place in war. But that was a very interesting moment when the tanks started rolling and some brilliant general said, let's go through the mud instead of going down the highway, right? So they got a little bit lucky. But you know where they really got lucky? I gave javelins. That wasn't given by Barack Hussein Obama. He gave them sheets. You know, there's a statement. Obama gave them sheets, and I gave them the javelins. And the javelins are a devastating weapon. And that wasn't given by Obama. That was given by, because at the time it was Obama. That was given by me. So it was like one of those things. And you had hundreds of them. They're a devastating weapon. We have a lot of devastating weapons. I'd rather not use them. But that was a big moment. You know, when the tanks got stuck, they got stuck. And call it luck or call it talent. I'm not sure what you'd call it, but it was a big moment in time.
Do you think Democrats
Tanks for the javelins.
Do you think Democrats can do
That's what I would say.
finally end this war like they did with the war in the Middle East? And
I think right now the Democrats are really damaged, mentally damaged. They want to take $1.5 trillion with a T, $1 trillion, and give it to people that invaded our country. They came into our country illegally from prisons, from mental institutions, gang members. They want to give them health care and take it away from our citizens. We're not going to do that. $1.5 trillion. They want to destroy. They want to destroy our health care system. We're not going to let that happen.
Have you authorized CIA operations in Venezuela as part of?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but some interesting things are happening.
I'm not
going to
talk about the CIA operations in Venezuela. That would be bad.
Maduro offered everything in his country, all the natural resources. He even recorded a message to you in English recently, offering mediation. What could we do in order to stop that?
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to fuck around with the United States.
Yikes.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, I was unexpected. I wasn't expecting that. Wow, that was a. Wait, well, hold on. I gotta hear that one again.
Invaded our country.
Have you authorized CIA operations in Venezuela as part of?
Well, I wouldn't say that. You're right. He's offered everything.
Offered everything
Some interesting things are happening around the world, I'll say that.
It's been reported, Mr. President, it has been reported that Maduro offered
everything. And Donald Trump, wow, that's a way to end a press conference, huh? Donald Trump, like I said, keep it simple in words that people can understand. And that's exactly what President Donald Trump did. FAFO. FAFO, I think they call that. Listen, before I forget, don't FA with your investments. FAFO with your investments. What you need to do is you need to make sure that you are. Fox News is apologizing for the language, by the way. I'm watching them. They're like, we didn't know that language was going to happen, but it did. If you want to make sure that your investments are as safe as Donald Trump is making the United States of America, gold is your safe haven investment. It's where you can really understand and trust that you're going to have the greatest return long term, more so than Bitcoin, more so than the stock market. And if you look at your Bitcoin portfolio, odds are it's not doing so well right now. If you look at your 401k, your stock-based 401k, it may be up today, but give it a year, you never know what's going to happen. Gold is up 25% since President Donald Trump returned to office. So if you go to getmarksgold.com, Augusta Precious Metals is going to give you a free gold guide. You just fill in some information. They'll get you that gold guide. And all they ask is that you have at least $50,000 to invest, whether it's from an IRA, a 401k, a stock market account, any kind of savings account, bonds, whatever it is, if it's cash. $50,000 and as an initial investment in an Augusta Precious Metals based IRA, much safer, folks. About 25%. Gold is one of the, and it's not just the conspiracy theorists and the preppers who love gold. It's every investor. Every major investor has gold in their portfolio because they know a gold IRA from Augusta Precious Metals is something that is a long-term safe haven investment. Go to getmarksgold.com. Getmarksgold.com. We have a ton of cha-ching chats that have been coming in. I turned off the cha-chinger because I didn't think it would be apropos to just interrupt President Donald Trump when he was cussing. But VR Rides sent us a $10 cha-ching chat. Thank you, VR Rides. Wrote, hi, Mark, been following a long time. Your long hiatus was rough, and I still miss having Hannah on the show. When you make it to Congress, us motorcyclists need your help making us safer riding in Florida. You know what? Fun fact, I have a motorcycle endorsement on my license, and I'm a big fan of motorcyclists. And anything we can do to make you safer. I know you got to share the road. Now, there are some motorcyclists who don't drive safely, and there's literally nothing. Those guys that ride between cars and go 90 and do wheelies, I can't make them safer. But I'll do what I can for everybody else. We got another cha-ching chat off of Rumble. Look at this one. $50. Whoa. This is a $50 cha-ching chat from Mrs. Hanbuilder. Mark K., you make every day more enjoyable. Thank you for your entertaining coverage and commentary. Grateful for you, Megan Hahn. Megan, we are so great. That is a very generous cha-ching chat for sure. And we love it. And we appreciate you. And we appreciate you coming back every single day and listening to the show. And, that's why I'm here. If you find this commentary to be entertaining, that's great. Because entertainment is always the primary goal, as it should be. If people aren't entertained, they aren't going to listen. And if they're not going to listen, they're not going to learn. So entertaining commentary means that you're going to listen to something that is important. You're going to learn and you're going to hopefully use it for your own good. Because that's all I ever wanted. Whenever I do anything, I try to make it entertaining as well as informative, because if you're not entertained, it can be informative and boring AF. And if it's informative and boring AF, it doesn't do anyone any good because no one's going to pay attention. So I really do appreciate all that. Oh my God, look at that. They're not stopping. We got Ernest Hatfield again. Yo, Mark, do you or your son plan on writing any more books? God bless America. P.S. Got paid twice this week. Ernest Hatfield back double dipping today on the cha-ching chats. Great question, Ernest. I actually have been thinking about writing a new book. I have been thinking about writing a new book and getting it out before Christmas. My son is at school right now, and so I don't know that he's going to be writing. He's writing papers every time I write. Every time my son is in the library, like literally every day, longer than I think I'm in my studio, which is a lot. But I have been contemplating writing a new book. I will say this. We have seen, because of President Donald Trump's effectiveness, a surge a surge in the interest of my last book, which was called Go Trump Yourself. And I thought for sure that this thing had a shelf life, but as long as Donald Trump is killing it in politics, as long as he's winning, people want to know how to live like Donald Trump. And that's exactly what this book does. This book is an entertaining retrospective. It's short stories and short, essays from following President Donald Trump and lessons on how President Donald Trump became so successful. And lessons that you can emulate. And they're lessons that I take directly from his campaign, directly from his presidency, directly from our interactions. And it's a great book. We now have a digital bundle. If you would like the digital bundle is awesome for two reasons. Number one, you get it instantly. You don't have to worry about the post office. You can download it. It's an ebook. It's official. You can read it on your ebook reader, your iPhone, or your Samsung Galaxy or whatever it is. And also it's bundled up with the audiobook. You get both for the price of one. So if you're like, I don't have time to read, or, I wish there were an audiobook that I could listen to in my car, no problemo, problem solved. You get the audiobook and the ebook for just $24. Go to gotrumpyourself.com, gotrumpyourself.com. We also put the link in the description of this video, so it's super easy for you to find. Oh my gosh, this is what we'll be doing for the rest of the show, just throwing out some cha-ching chats. Michael L.A., I don't know if that's Los Angeles or Louisiana, but he wrote 80% of Ukrainian press, which is bought by Soros, trashing President Donald Trump. By the way, I've got my MAGA gnome. Oh, good. Michael got a MAGA gnome. I get a lot of questions. You know what the most questions I get are? Where can I get your hat? Right? And where can I get the MAGA gnome? And the hat you can get by coming to my event next week at Pusser's in Ponte Vedra Beach. The MAGA gnome, this was a gift given to me by a Catriot, and he put his number on here. It's Patrick made these. His number is right there. You can look at it. It's 301-904-3216. 301-904-3216. If you ever wanted your own MAGA gnome, they're custom made, by the way. I think I had the only one, but now Evidently there's more of them. There's more of them in production, which is kind of cool. So anyway, listen, this has been a fantastic week, and I just really incredible with the peace in the Middle East, with the peace plan hopefully here in Ukraine. Tomorrow is No King's Day, which we have a big celebration, a big protest rally planned in Jacksonville. I'll head down and I'll try to cover it as much as I can. And I don't know if I'll go live tomorrow, but definitely sometime during the weekend, I'll bring you some of my thoughts on No King's Day. And the best thing you can do is subscribe to this channel, subscribe to YouTube or Rumble, wherever you happen to be, and make sure that you set the notifications, because whenever we post new content, whenever we go live, whenever we have something new and exciting for you, we want to make sure that you get it, because A, it's going to be entertaining. B, it's going to be informative. C, it's going to educate you on something. D, it's going to help you be prepared for E, the time that you're going to get attacked. For F, when we have to fight, so that we can, I forget even what comes after F, save the Republic. I know what comes after F. AFO. FAFO. That's what comes after F. In case anyone was wondering. Listen, I'm going to vamp for a bit, because what happens is if I cut off the stream too quickly, then people that are watching at a later time, they miss the end of the stream. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to throw up the placard for Go Trump Yourself and remind you to go to gotrumpyourself.com, right? This is a great read. For those of you that are like, man, what do I do when all the podcasts have been listened to? What do I do over the weekend when Mark Kay's not doing a new podcast? Well, you could listen to one of Mark Kay's ebooks, like, for example, Go Trump Yourself, which is available now for only $24 at gotrumpyourself.com. All right, that should do it. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys soon.